Greetings. I am Dr. Noni Davis. I'm coming to you from St. C Academy, and I have been sharing uh, some of the information that my students did on our Africa Diaspora Day. But before I go on, let me also acknowledge that I am a legacy owner and co-founder of St. C Academy, which has been around for 30 years, almost 30 years in February. And we are it's African-centered education for our students. And so all of the little lessons, the little mini lessons that I'm providing are things that I've either shared with my students during instruction in science, social studies, or ELA, but also just share with you the things that I have learned. And so every October we do an Africa Day, and I've already thus far have talked about African diaspora architects, African inventors, African and let's see, I did architects, inventors, freedom fighters, and now I'm talking about African institutions. And some of these I have gone over before, but I did add information from about schools in the Caribbean because we're doing diaspora now. So this week I'm going to focus on learning institutions, and some of you already know probably about Ipet Isut. Three of the oldest universities in the world, the first universities in the world, were in Africa. And so this is Ipet Isut. This is in ancient Egypt. And Ipet Isut means, it translates as the most secret of places or most select of places. But it is now referred to as Karnak. And I think it was, yeah, Karnak is what it was. And so, which is what the Greeks changed the name of it to. Of course, they love to rename stuff. Anyway, and so this institution let's see, it says here, about 2000 BCE is when it was completed. It is considered one of the seven wonders of the world. It's over 200 acres. So at the time, it was the largest religious complex ever made. I think I have to check to make sure that's still so. It was Taharka. They have pictures of Taharka from the 25th dynasty. They've got statues of Ramses the third from the 1100. I think that one is 1669, 690, 660 BC. Then you have a Baroque shrine that was there. It was the center of education, housing schools and scribes within its walls from 1971 to 1926 BC. The scribes and accountants and priests were educated there. Children, young boys mostly, because it was predominantly male at this time, were from ages 5 to teenagers were there. It was and mostly wealthy families as well, because they could afford to do this. According to the African Hub, Ipet is the oldest university in the world. The second oldest is Morocco, El Qarawiyyin. And I want to show that because a lot of times we're not thinking it was us. We were doing these things here. Where is that one? Oh, here it is. And so this one is in Morocco, and this one was founded in 859. Is that right? So 859 Christian era, so CE, and it was founded by a woman. What would they say her name was? She was a Tunisian woman named Fatima El Firi, and it is also the oldest library. And that's where I introduced this several months ago. I introduced this particular university, but it is the second oldest in the world. And the reason why it says it's the oldest It's also the oldest library and oldest university that is still operating. So if you think A59 and this is 2025, so that's what 2025 minus. I should have calculated this before. What is that? 19 and 11. So that's 6, and that's what 6, and that's what 1,000. So 1,200 years. About 1,200 years it's been open. That's crazy. All right, so that's the oldest. Wait a minute, that's a 1. I'm sorry. About 1,100. Yeah, almost 1,200 years it's been open. And that was founded by a woman. And then you have Mali, Timbuktu, which is the third oldest university. Where's Timbuktu? Let's see, Timbuktu. And so Timbuktu was founded in 988, also by a woman named Buktu. And this one is in Mali. And like I said, the other one is in Morocco. This is Morocco. And this is Egypt. So we're talking about East, North Africa, and West Africa. Those were the oldest universities at that time, and the oldest ones in the world. And the oldest, I just want to be clear, the oldest European university, is in Bologna, Italy, and that's 1088, which is almost 100 years after Timbuktu and Mali, and almost 200 years after, over 200 years from Morocco. And let's see, and then the University of Oxford in England is 1096. So even their universities are 100 to 200 years younger, or our universities are like our more current universities that are still operating are 100 to 200 years older than the oldest ones in Europe. Okay, so the University of El Qarawiyyin taught law, theology, mathematics, and astronomy. The thing that was miraculous about University of Timbuktu is that at one point it had 25,000 students. That's crazy, because we've got, I mean, when I was at UNC, it had 25,000, and it's, over almost 300 years old. UNC, almost, it's not quite there, but just imagine 25,000 students in Timbuktu, Mali. Oh my God. And they taught Islamic law, the astronomy, medicine, mathematics, philosophy, and it had hundreds of thousands of manuscripts there in the university, and thousands in the homes of people. So they don't call it a library, but 300,000 books, hundreds of thousands of books. I'm sorry, hundreds of thousands of books. And then I think in Mauritania too, there are a bunch of books. And then, of course, you got Ethiopia. So that legacy of writing and having manuscripts is definitely academia is definitely African. So the next topic was the creation of Black universities. And I was trying to focus on the ones that were before the Civil War. And so the oldest one is Cheney. And so my students got a lot out of this one. My oldest student was the one that had to introduce Timbuktu and Ibn Sut. If I had known, I would have included Morocco in there so people would know, we were doing that thing. But let's see. So Cheney University is right here, and this one is in Pennsylvania, and it's a beautiful building right there. And Cheney was, let's see, founded in 1837 in Pennsylvania. It was founded by a Quaker man, or a Quaker man donated, named Humphreys, donated $10,000 to the school to help African descendants prepare teachers to elevate their African folks. Um, and this Cheney University in Pennsylvania, and I think the other one, Lincoln, a lot. Lincoln was what, 1854, because Pennsylvania was such a hub for underground railroad activity. They said that these schools probably uh, had were probably linked to the Underground Railroad, and so I thought that was really cool. Um, our students also learned about Lincoln University, and Lincoln University is interesting because where is Lincoln? So Lincoln University is also, and that one is 1854, like I said. So both of these were before the Civil War. But Lincoln also is interesting because it they had the first presidents of two African countries, Nigeria, and this is Nnamdi Azikiwe, and then you had Kwame Nkrumah, and there's a building on campus called, I think it's Azikiwe Nkrumah Building, and but these two men, Ezekiel was the first prime minister, no, the first president of Nigeria, and everybody knows Nkrumah was the first prime minister of Ghana, and so they came here to attend our universities, and that's really cool, and they're still acknowledged by the school. The third let's see, the third oldest university, HBCU, is Wilberforce, Ohio. And Wilberforce, Ohio also was a school that was very actively involved in the Underground Railroad. So, and let's see, Wilberforce was 1856. And let's see. Oh, I forgot to say that Nkrumah graduated from the class of 1939, and Ezekiel graduated from Lincoln in 1930, and they both got a master's degree. Kwame Nkrumah got his in 1942. Ezekiel got his master's in 1932. Like I said, first president of Nigeria, first prime minister of Ghana. So, I mean, these schools have been very influential. So, not even just on the states, but in Africa as well. Wilberforce was also, like I said, a part of part of the abolition movement, Underground Railroad, and it was actually founded by William Wilberforce, who was a black abolitionist. This is the oldest private Black-owned and operated HBCU in the United States. And one of his famous graduates is William Grant Still, who I did not pull up a picture of. Oh, my goodness. William Grant Still. I love William Grant Still. He is a famous composer. And Duke Ellington has done a couple of orchestras with his pieces. William Grant Still, and I also believe that he was named after the famous abolitionist William Still, who was oh Lord, sorry, I don't know what that's there for. Yikes! But that's William Grant Still, composer, and he was amazing. So he graduated from Wilberforce. He's got the Afro-American Symphony, I think, is the one that is very famous that he wrote. He what is it? He composed over almost 200 works, including 9 operas. And so he's amazing. So then from there, we decided to make sure, we can't skip over North Carolina. So, so Shaw University was the first HBCU created in the South. And so where are my pictures of that? Okay. Shaw. And so I've talked about Shaw University, the first university in the South, 1865. And Let me see what else was I going to say. Oh, and there were like, okay, so it's the sixth university created in the United States in Raleigh, North Carolina. But then you had Barbara Scotia and Concord. In 1867, you had Fayetteville State University in 1925. You had NCCU in Durham in 1909 when it became a state college in 1923. So North Carolina was really doing this thing with these schools, and so our schools are. Even in North Carolina, they're old. Some of them are quite old, our HBCUs. And also, Shaw University housed Lincoln Medical School, which was the first 4-year medical school. I think did a podcast on that as well. And it opened in 1880, and it was open for 40 years. And they said in that 40 years, it educated close to 400 Black physicians. Now, like I said, it ended up closing, but Leonard Medical School was the first 4-year medical school, and it set the standard for a 4-year curriculum for medical students, and so it became the framework for medical academic institutions around the country. So it was the first 4-year medical school in the United States, not the first Black one, the first medical school. So next I had the students like, okay, we're going to make this a diaspora thing because we talked about what we did in Africa and we brought it to the United States. So let's learn something about, some of the schools in the Caribbean. And my parents were really intrigued because a lot of us never, even in my age group, we never considered it wasn't in our space to think, hey, what, maybe we could go to school in the Caribbean. People are always going to, Europe for schools or whatever. But we have something right here right here in the United States. Well, in the Caribbean, right here, they consider themselves Americans too. We just United Staters. Okay. So next I had two students, and they looked at the University of Virgin Islands and the University of Southern Caribbean. Now, like I said, this was very important because a lot of us did not know about that. And then also, one of the students who participated in this one, it has Haitian ancestry. So I really wanted her to, like, oh, there's some place that you could go. It's for school. And so since we are including diasporas, that's what we did. So the University of the Virgin Islands, this school was not as old as some of the schools we have in the States, 1860s and whatever. But let's see, the University of, what is that? The Southern Caribbean? Forbear College. What is it? Oh, no. We went for 460. Oh, that's just a sign. I couldn't get a good picture of the buildings and everything. But that's the University of the Virgin Islands. And this university, they have let's see, it was founded in 1962. It has 1,741 students at campuses on the Virgin Islands. They're in St. Croix, and they're on St. Thomas. And UVI considers itself an HBCU because Virgin Islands is a territory of the United States. It has 99 degree programs, minors and certificates. And I mean, the pictures that my student found, they're just absolutely beautiful. I mean, I don't know if I went there, I'd be at the beach all the time. So anyway, like I said, so if I had known, I probably would have been down there. The students at these presentations also learned about the University of the Southern Caribbean. And this one was formed in 1932, and I think it's a Seventh-day Adventist. Yeah, Seventh-day Adventist school. And it is located on the island of Trinidad and Tobago. It is a private college, and it has satellites in Antigua, Barbados, Guyana, and St. Lucia. And the student population is about 3,500 students, and they too have about 40 fields of study in a bachelor's degree and master's degree programs. Now, what we didn't do And I don't know why I didn't think about it, but I was like, huh. I found out that they had 95 institutions in the Caribbean. And with the University of the West Indies, and we know about the West Indies because that one was from Jamaica, 1948. It's in Barbados, Trinidad, Tobago, Antigua, and Barbuda. And then you also had the Universidad of Puerto Rico. And if I had been thinking, I would have included these too. Anyway, so that was really cool to learn about some universities that I did not know about. Did I put the University of Puerto Rico up here? I guess I did not. But okay, so I didn't do that one, but that's okay. But I did learn that 47 of the universities in the Caribbean are in Cuba, if you can believe that. I was like, 47 of the 95 universities in the Caribbean are in Cuba, and some of them are the oldest. So where did I find it? Where is the University of? There it is. So this is the University of Puerto Rico, and this is the University of Havana. And this one was formed in founded in 1728. All of the colleges in Cuba are free, public and free. I'm like, America, what is wrong with you? Anyway, with over 400,000 students enrolled, and this is one of the poorest countries. At least that's what we say, and we basing it poverty on how much money people have. But if you got 47 universities, y'all might be the wealthiest in terms of academia, because Cuba is it's a small island, and you have all of these people enrolled in school, and 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 the only reason why you might be the country is financially poor is because of all these embargoes and tariffs that the United States has imposed on them to keep them, poor. And so, let's see, I wanted to see here in real time. Just imagine that these people, um, I want to see what is the population of Cuba. I'm gonna just do that real fast because I was amazed at that. No, population of Cuba. Oh no, William Grant still of Cuba. So the population of Cuba is 10 million people. So about almost 11 million people. Okay, so almost 11 million people. And 400,000 of those are enrolled in college, and they're free. And we know they also have the best medical doctors because during COVID, they were the ones that were out here going around saving folks. I think they went to Italy. I know they went to Spain, and they were the ones that were being recruited to heal people, save people's lives. And so just imagine that is like really incredible. 10 million and almost a half a million are in college. America is in trouble. So anyway, what the last university that I did want to talk about is Florida Bay College. So we talked about Timbuktu in the West Africa, Mali and Mauritania and all those places, started by a Black woman. And then you have a university of okay, I gotta figure out how to say this again. Garawian. I'm not sure. We have to figure that out. But anyway, so they have the University of Morocco, and then we have Ipetisud. So what happened is when colonial rule came in, they also decided to open up universities, and these were Western universities. This was not a university that was based on African presence. This was created by the British. And so the oldest university in during since colonial times is Full Bay College. What did I knock over? I knocked over some pencils. So this is Full Bay College, and this is in Sierra Leone. And I actually got a chance to visit that university when I visited there. Um, it's not a really large campus, but it's a nice campus, and it sits on a mountain, and ooh, you have to go up around the mountain to get to the top. And then, it's a plateau, but it has the most amazing view of the coastline, because Freetown is right there at the beach. Freetown's the beach is right there on the coast, and so you can see the ferries. You can see just the ocean from there, and it's not a far drive away. And so it sits right up there, and even going down, I thought my heart was palpitating a little bit, because it was so high, it was so steep, and there are no rails or anything like that. So I was extremely concerned about my well-being. But anyway, so the University of Florida Bay College was established in 1827. What was his name? Samuel. Oh goodness, I'm trying to figure it out. Oops, I did. What is that? What's it? It's a preacher. Forbay. Sorry, Forbay College. Sierra Leone. And so I can't remember Samuel. Golly, what is that guy's name? Oh, I'm not doing good here. Okay, Full Bay College. All right, so for Full Bay College was it was the first. It's the oldest institution of higher learning in modern sub-Saharan Africa, and it's on Mount Oriole. And one of the historical things about that place is that it was the British were up there on that mountain, and they tried to make that place a fortress to protect themselves against the indigenous, Mende folk, Mende, Timne, Africans from Africa, protect themselves from Africans. But when at some point they finally decided to leave, and they turned it over. But it was, I'm trying to think, who is the guy? The first student's name was Samuel Ajayi Crowther or something like that. So he was the first student at Full Bay College. That's him. And so we took this journey. We started in Africa. Came to the States, went to the Caribbean, and went back to West Africa. And the students had a very broad understanding of, wow, we have institutions everywhere. And hopefully it gave them some choices, some things to think about, of different places they can go, what kind of degrees they want. A lot of these Caribbean schools are specializing in marine biology, and solar energy. And so it was really interesting to see what their coursework was. And so in addition to medicine and law and they also are very keen on our archaeology, anthropology, and oceanography. And so that's anybody who's interested in that. And so I hope that I've shared something that maybe you all hadn't considered, and we'll see you next time. Ashe, ashe, and happy Thanksgiving. I don't practice that, but anyway. Happy Indigenous Day. Ashe.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
I'm a St. Cia student. Of course I walk into the sound of drums.
I'm a St. Cia student. Of course I know my mother.
I'm a St. Cia student. Of course I can play the drum.
I'm a St. Cia student. Of course I can work with my hands.
I'm a St. Cia student.